Good evening to you all.
You guys are live. Have fun.
Thank you, Harry. Hi, it's Jeff Pulver, and we're here for another edition of an amazing show with a very special guest. We'll kick it off by saying hello to Monty and Amy and asking if it's Mondays, what is it? It's time for Ask the Oracles. And Monty and Amy are frozen. Just how
There we go.
There you are. Okay, you froze for a moment. I kicked off. I said it's Monday. It's time for Ask the Oracles.
And we didn't say anything?
You guys are frozen. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Well, I promise not to curse so that we don't need the 7-second delay.
Fair enough. And we have a very special a guest, a friend of Monty and Amy's, Michele Harper is with us today. And before we get to Michele,
it's so fun to be with you.
God, we miss you.
I know, it's so exciting. You know, you guys are my favorite mystics.
I hope so.
Michele is the best dressed person we've ever met and ever will meet.
That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Everybody, I saw my fashions at Bergdorf Goodman, and that's where Michele and Monty and I met all together. And Michele, do you want to tell the story?
Okay, a long time ago. So, so it was actually my first week at Bergdorf Goodman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was my first week, and I'm on the floor, and the model, this beautiful model, she walks by me, and she has this beautiful flowing caftan, and she's holding a sign, and it says Amy Zerner. And I said, "Excuse me, hold up, wait a minute." I said, "Amy Zerner?" And she says, "Oh, yes, they're upstairs." And I was like, "The Amy Zerner?" I said, "And Monty Farber?" And she goes, "Yeah, they're both upstairs." And I ran upstairs and I went, "Oh my God." I said, "You guys are like the Michael Jackson of like metaphysics to me." And
the highest compliment.
That is.
They're like, wow. Nobody has ever said that before.
And that's how we felt about seeing you.
We bonded instantly because we're talking crystals and tarot cards and astrology.
Yes.
In the midst of all this fashion.
In the midst of all the fashion. And I was really surprised because I had been looking at the Enchanted Tarot app at the time. You guys are such visionaries. I mean, you had an app long before everyone else had an app. I mean, you had your tarot card. So I was doing your tarot card readings almost every day. So it's still on my phone now. Cool. I've taken so many apps off, but I can never remove your app, the Enchanted Tarot app.
And you're doing amazing stuff now, right? Out in Los Angeles?
Yes. You know, I have to tell you that I really do miss New York.
We miss you.
But yes, I'm a hypnotherapist now, and I've gone on to increase my metaphysical attunement and Reiki master, and I'm still doing color therapy. I'm still doing styling, and but like I said, you guys inspire me, and you help me to realize that I can do everything, because at one point, because you guys have so many books, and so I always think if Amy and Monty can do it, I can do it. I can blend and mix things when it comes to esoteric knowledge, fashion, and beauty. Are you guys frozen again?
Yeah, frozen again. But, I believe they'll catch up. There they are.
I'm sorry about that. That's never happened before. I think it's all the psychic energy.
Oh, yes. Well, there's definitely a high. I know, Monty, there's a really high frequency happening now. I mean, I noticed yesterday, so many things were like frozen in the energy, and things that were supposed to be working. Like basically I was with a group of people, and they were all highly attuned. And it was just, things kept freezing and stopping, and we started laughing. We're like, it's just so much energy right now.
I think you're right, Jeff. Are there still more solar storms?
Yes, quite a few actually hitting us. So the sun has been very, very active. If you check out spaceweather.com, you'd see what's coming our way this week. In fact, what we experienced over the weekend, and more to come. There's a lot of solar activity on the other side of the sun, which was just seen yesterday. So we are going through very intense solar flares that are changing the energy here on Earth, but on both both on the ground as well as in the air, and it is having an effect. It's blocking some levels of communication, and will affect how we feel. I mean, dramatically.
Yeah, I just want to say astrologically, now more than ever, we all need to make our bases secure. So everybody should stock up on as much stuff as you can stock up on.
Now you scare people.
No, I'm not scaring anybody. I said it before. We're all still alive. You know, I calls it as I sees them. Like, Leo DeRocher, the manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh no, poor Leo.
Well, I know Monty has been saying make your bases secure for several months now. And
Yes,
every time he says it, I remember I'm thinking, okay, make my base secure. So, having food, having water.
Yeah, you see all this stuff.
Yeah, that Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Pisces, that's the big one, right? It makes people very emotional.
Right. And as you can see, just give me 1 second here with the pointer, you have a magnifier. These things, Jupiter and Neptune are a degree away. It's just a shout away or a shot away, depending on how your speakers are working. So there's a lot going on astrologically.
But see how it's all concentrated, everybody?
Yeah, because it doesn't usually happen like that. There's something called a Barbose Cycle, and it indicates that when the outer planets, when the slower ones like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, when they bunch up with Jupiter and Saturn, big things happen. So big things are happening.
We want big good things.
No, listen, this week had a lot of wonderful things for me. I hope it has a lot of wonderful things for you all. I know there's been movement, right, Jeff?
Yes. There's
Jeff is like, yes.
Yeah, you might have to move right off your seat to make a phone call. I know and I don't know, Michelle, in your life, has there been a lot of movement this week?
Well, just me being on here with you guys today, that's a big movement.
That's right.
I really appreciate this because, like I said, you guys, I've been following you guys for many, many years. I'm glad to know you as friends. And I mean, you guys have definitely have been the visionaries in this field. And so for me to be a part of your Meet the Oracles, that's a big move for me.
Oh,
Wow.
thanks, Michelle.
All the way here in
We have a
California.
wonderful group. We've been gathering for about a year and a half, right?
Almost 2 years. It's almost right, Jeff. Isn't it almost 2 years we've been doing this?
And they're all nice people, and they're all high frequency.
Year and a half at least. I think we started in October of 2020.
Oh, maybe you're right. You guys are in the groove. I'm out here.
August. 2 years.
Someone says
Marie has it. August.
2 years in
August will
August.
be 2 years. August will be 2 years. So you're right. It's almost 2 years since we're already April.
Yeah.
And we're closer to 2 years than not 2 years. So it's April. August will be 2 years for Ask the Oracles. Wow.
I mean, this is like having a family reunion every week.
Wow.
Thank God it's not like my family reunions. No one's fighting. No one's drunk.
We have two topics we want to sort of get into. One is how we block ourselves and how to unblock, because I know, Michelle, you work with people on a one-to-one with all that, with your hypnotherapy and your chakra work. And then the other thing we're going to segue into is spiritual style.
Oh yeah,
when I met Monty, when I met Monty in 1974, he was styling. He went to thrift shops. He had like
vests,
lots of collar and vests, and his beret, of course.
I had a pink shirt.
And when I met Jeff right away, he got one of my jackets.
Yes.
Wow.
So I knew he was cool.
Yeah.
But Michelle, you have a style beyond anyone else I know. You have the best personal style.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Betty Holman.
Yep.
That at Bergdorf Goodman, she signed. I have a book, her original book, Style Therapist.
Yep, I have that.
And she wrote in the book, Harper has the best style. And I always remember that. I was like, if Betty said it, it must be true.
Well, I got chills because she doesn't compliment anyone.
Really?
I know she's a tough cookie, and she would compliment me quite often at Bergdorf Goodman, and she goes, "You know what's happening." So I always remember that, and I took that as the ultimate compliment, you know. And so, talking about style, I think one thing about me is my confidence when it comes to style.
Totally.
I've always had my own way of dressing. And I remember when I was in elementary school, my mother, she took me to a fabric shop. Maybe could have been Joanne Fabrics. And I picked out fabric and I picked out a pattern. And I told her I wanted her to make the vest in one fabric and the skirt in the other fabric. And I went to school. And the lunch ladies, I was in the lunch line, and the lunch lady, and I used to wear my hair in a French roll, like a French twist. I said, "Oh, I want you to put my hair in a French twist." I think I must have been about 7. And she says, and the lunch ladies, they say, "Wow, that is the cutest outfit I've ever seen. Where did you get that?" And I said, "Oh, my mom made it." And I didn't know I was a designer back then.
Right.
But they would always say, "Wow, how did you put that together at such a young age?" So I know that it's an intrinsic channeling for me, you know, because when we're talking about style, I think a lot of people are afraid to express themselves outwardly. Like they may have visions of what they want to look like, but they're afraid that people are going to laugh at them or they
judge them.
Judge it. Oh, I need to look like everyone else. But I never had that problem. I never felt like I wanted to look like other people, but I wasn't so extreme either. One of my clients said I'm elegant funky.
Perfect. Yes.
And I thought that was a really good description of my personal style.
Well, it's an art form. It's an art form. I bet you're like me, where I remember all my clothes, like from when I was little to teenager.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much a part of our path, you know, how we adorn ourselves and how we project ourselves. And we do it for other people too, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. I remember I have clients that I've worked with over 20 years in terms of styling. And if they called me today, I could tell them what's in their closet. It's bizarre. Yeah. I'm like, well, you have orange. Do you still have those orange Gucci shoes? One of my clients, and she was like, I do still have them. I said, well, you can wear that with those. They said, what shoes could I wear? So it's weird. I can't remember names. I can't remember certain things, but I can remember people's clothes. It's bizarre. I can remember, you know, when I met someone, what they were wearing from time to time. If it was impactful, I'll remember it, you know.
You two are from the same tribe for sure.
Also, you mix the high low. You can find something, you know, for $10 and mix it with something for $1,000.
Oh, most definitely. So you guys will find this very interesting. So, you know, I have a daughter, and when she is actually taking over some of my clothes. So there is one
wonderful
t-shirt that I had. I bought this t-shirt probably when I was 16 from a thrift store, and I paid 10 cents for it. So you can tell how old it is. My daughter still has that t-shirt.
Well, at least she didn't rebel.
Well, she did rebel too, but this one particular t-shirt, it was before baby tees. I remember I bought it in the baby department because I was like, I don't want a tight fitted tee. I was 16 because I could travel by myself. And I wore this t-shirt forever. It had printed overalls on the front and printed overalls on the back. I cut it up. It was a baby tee. My daughter still has that same t-shirt and she wears it. Can you imagine?
Yes.
I can imagine.
We got those drawers.
You know, Amy was one of the first women to wear overalls when she went to Pratt.
Oh, wow.
We're talking 1969, I guess.
Yeah. When I met her, she was really, really styling. You know, the way you look is so important.
That's your rising sign in astrology.
Right, rising sign in astrology, which is the sign that's on the horizon at the moment you're born, is how you come off to other people, whether you want to come off that way or not. But I just want to say one thing before I forget it, and it's that when I did quantum affirmations, the book clubs used to do like
With Michelle.
35,000 copies, 40, the reason we say we have, millions of books sold is because the book clubs used to do 50,000 on a run.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah,
The good old
in the good old
days.
days. Now, if they do 2,000, you're lucky. But
Bring back the good old days.
back in the good old days. And so when the book club asked us to do quantum affirmations, they said we got to do something else. And this was in the time of DVDs. So we did a whole DVD with 4 people, and Michelle was one of them.
Whoa.
And so like you really rocked.
You really quantum affirmed.
you like went out ahead of us in terms of you changed your life 100%. You left New York.
Well, Michelle just reminds me of that other funny story when you met your partner.
Oh,
She's frozen now.
Now she's.
We have a frozen thing going on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it'll be. We should start.
Having a little tech.
Michelle, we can't hear you. I mean, we
Okay,
can't.
so
We can hear
I
you,
can
but
hear you guys for a minute.
okay.
Could hear her.
Oh, you hear her? Okay, so
No,
that
she's
must be
broken.
us.
She's broken.
Okay,
Okay,
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
can hear you good. Now I can't. But welcome to live Ask the Oracle.
It says solar flaring all over the place. It's solar flare.
Jeff, don't you have connections on the sun? Can't you ask anybody?
We could ask, yes, but we were warned about the. She's coming in. I guess she'll
You're
come
gonna
back.
come back in, Jeff.
Yeah. We were warned about the solar
Well,
flares.
the
Yeah.
other day I read there was supposed to be northern lights in New York. That's very unusual, right?
If there was no clouds and if you had no light pollution, you could see it.
Wow.
We had that a couple of days ago, and it'll happen again as the solar cycle 25 continues to gain steam.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, so you guys were talking about quantum affirmations.
Yes.
And so this is a really great story. So I did your quantum affirmations video before or after I went to Burning Man? I think it was before.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I believe it was before. So so I decide that I'm going to go to Burning Man one year. I've only been once. And I go to Burning Man and I go to the temple. There's a big temple there where people go and they put pictures of their loved ones and they leave things. And at the end of the burn, they burn everything. It's like a ritual of sacrament. So I meet my current husband at Burning Man. I didn't know that at the time, but Monty, with his psychic abilities, he did tell me that, which I thought that's no way, Jose. Anyway, so as we're walking and we had a long date. We met and we had like a 24-hour date. If anybody knows about Burning Man, it's like no time, the time continuum. So we go into the temple and we're sitting down and all of a sudden I'm sitting on something and it's a book and it's the Soulmates book.
Our book.
Oh, wow.
Amy, yes.
California Burning Man.
Of course.
In Vegas, in the
desert.
desert in Nevada. I'm sitting on the book and
Wow.
I picked the book up and I'm like, oh my God, these are my friends. I know them.
She pulls it. Whoa.
I was like, this is crazy. And then I'm looking at the book and he's looking at me, we're looking at something, it's like Soulmates. And I thought, wow. I said, I could make this up. I could not wait to get back to New York to tell you guys about it. But, and since then, Monty has been so profound in all of his readings with me. I mean, he told me so many things that I just could not even, I like now when I think back and I'm like, wow, Monty told me that 10 years ago. Wow, Monty told me that. I remember you told me I was going to work in the place that was all glass. And I'm thinking, what? And then flashback, I was working in the meatpacking district in a place that was all glass. And I thought, Monty told me I was going to work in a place that was all glass.
He's pretty good.
My readings are time release, like drugs.
Yes.
They release over time.
I get to ask him all the time. I always joke, I ask him what I'm going to find at TJ Maxx, and he's always right.
That's so funny.
I usually say a yellow sundress. And if you can imagine Amy in a yellow sundress.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about this. This is really a good segue into spiritual style.
Yes.
Okay, even though we're moving blocks too, but so when you have something in mind, like for example, when Monty told you that you're going to find a yellow sundress, as an example, that's how I see clothing. So I always say, did I see this in my mind or does it really exist? Because we are always visualizing and creating things with our realities and with hey, I see all my friends, hey Naomi. Anyway, so I was just saying, wow, when you're getting dressed, spirit is also speaking to us with our clothing. Like for example, I have so many clothes, but spirit told me to wear this golden dress today with these triangles, and I'm thinking, okay, and then I changed. But if you really tap into your inner self and your higher self, it will tell you what to wear and what you may find, and sometimes where you should go, especially when you're vintage shopping. So I call that past life retrieval.
Well, you're so right. It's very magical, and I totally agree. You find what you need and you find what you have thought of, even when you think it's impossible.
Exactly.
But color is so important. I mean, you're dressed like a solar flare today, right?
Yes. I didn't know that, but now that Jeff has said that, I'm like, definitely, and I'm feeling the solar flare. Totally. I mean, I feel the vibration, like, ooh, it almost feels a little bit like anxiety, but I know it's not anxiety. I'm like, what is this frequency I'm feeling now? We're all, if you're tuned in, you're all very sensitive, and you can feel when things are shifting, especially in California. Sometimes I feel like it might be a possible earthquake, but then I'm like, no, I'm picking up on some energy and it could be like something doing like that, but I'm sensitive to it. And I'm like, okay, are you imagining this or is it real? And I'm like, okay, this is real. Just stop and feel it and then move forward. Because what is it? We're all frequency, we're all energy. And so we can, if we tune in, we can feel the frequencies and shifts that are happening around us all the time.
I agree. And I think, we're all sensitive. All the people that join us here are sensitive because they're into all of this stuff. And you have to, really be discerning of, are you picking up on someone else? Are you picking up on a general vibe? A general astrology is great for describing that. And, as far as blocks go, because when you're talking about fashion, you're very free. We're very free because we have that confidence, that we've always wanted to be ourselves and wanted to honor our individuality. But a lot of people are afraid of that. Why do you think people are blocked that way?
Okay, so in hypnosis, we say from 0 to 8, that's when your, the subconscious programming is happening. So for example, if you have sisters and brothers, and you are wearing certain things, or you like certain things, and it's outside of the family or outside of what is approval, then you may always feel, oh, I can't wear that. Like, for example, let's say, for example, you wore a green sweater one day to school and someone said, oh, you look sick, you look terrible in green. So your whole life, you're going to think you look sick and you look terrible in green. Yeah. Now, that's an implant. That's something that happened to you, and it might have been very slight and very small, but in the back of your mind, you're always going to think you look terrible in green. Until one day, you may go to Bergdorf Goodman and you meet someone and they put you in a green outfit and you go, and they're like, wow, look at your eyes. You look great. And then they all of a sudden, because they're of encouragement and experience, they might see a different version of themselves. But that also has to do with public speaking. It has to do with, creativity. If someone tells you, oh, you can't sing, and then your whole life you think you can't sing, and then next thing you know, you're singing somewhere, and people go, oh my God, you have a beautiful voice. And you're like, what? No, I can't sing. And so how we interpret how we interpret experiences has a lot to do with our environment. And I call it scars. You know, for example, we have scars on us. We have sores that fester over the years. But then when you go through therapy or hypnosis, or you do the work, because you can, remove the blocks yourself by your creative visualization. You can do it by changing your lifestyle, like saying, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to move somewhere else, or I'm going to create a different version of myself. And I think people are afraid to create different versions of themselves because of what they think other people will say. So that's a huge block. A huge block is being outwardly projected versus inwardly grounded.
Yeah, I admire you as a stylist and the other stylists I know at Bergdorf's, because it is therapy. You're really tuning into the person. And, in New York, everyone wears black. So sometimes you just got to help people try something new. And it's really fun, right? To help people enhance their true.
Oh, yeah. And what
selves.
I say, if you try something new, you may have a new adventure.
Yeah.
But that's actually why a lot of people don't style, is because it's like right now I'm wearing very plain stuff because I don't want to clash with Amy's tapestry behind me. But Jeff and that sometimes I wear, I have my Anichi shirt collection. I have all kinds of very
You don't
colorful.
care if people make fun of you.
I never have, but I understand why a woman wouldn't, because sometimes they don't want to be bothered. And because when you look so wonderful, people are going to talk to you. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you get that all the time. People just come up and start talking to you.
Well, let's talk about this. This is a really important point that you made. So everyone is out there looking for love, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Not
So
me.
not you.
They
say that people are looking for love, right? And if you're looking for love, and then you go out to the supermarket and you have on a hoodie and you have on a hat and you're completely cloaked and veiled, and you think, oh, I'm never going to meet anyone. You're never going to meet anyone. But if you go out and maybe you have on something bright or something cheery, and you don't have to be overly dressed or whatever, but how you see yourself is how other people see yourself, and your clothing is actually representing an energy. So when you are outside in the world, if you want to attract things to you, then you have to be what you want to attract. So would you want to meet someone who was fully cloaked in a hoodie, glasses, looking like this, don't look at me? Or if you see someone who's vibrant, upright, you're like, oh, hi, how are you? So our body language, what we're wearing, what we're thinking, most importantly, what we're thinking about who we are and who we are in relationship to our environment is what we will attract. So once again, in terms of blocks, visualizing yourself meeting someone, visualizing yourself smiling. So one way, since we're talking about removing blocks, is to, and we're talking about our chakras, your solar plexus. That is your outward light. That's the sun of the body. That's how you are actually vibrating at this high frequency, by using your solar plexus. That's your physical manifestation of projection.
That's right above your belly button, right?
Yes, your belly button. And so they say before you take a picture, to have an inside smile, right? Like when you're taking the picture, they say, okay, make an inside smile. So your inside smile is.
In your solar plexus?
Yeah, your solar plexus. So you're working with your stomach, you're working with your solar plexus, your belly button, and you're bringing, thinking of something funny, and you're bringing that joy into your body, into your frequency, to have a smile. So think about, as you're walking through your day, you are going to raise your vibration by thinking of something pleasant and joyful as you're walking, as you're being out in the public. And that will actually, believe it or not, that's a very fast way to remove blocks. Because if you're going to have an interview. If you're working with a joyful place, feeling that energy in your solar plexus, then you can actually project a more positive energy versus a nervous energy. So that's a really quick way to actually work on that inner smile as you're walking, as you're trying to do things, doing your homework. If you're studying something, create an inner smile. I enjoy doing this. Okay, this is going to take me someplace further. So blocking, helping yourself to vibrate more positively just by smiling and just laughing. Anyway.
That's a good tip.
Hey, Jeff, how do you tell people to remove blocks?
Well, it depends upon the situation and depends upon, really it's contextual, but for me, dealing with entrepreneurs, it's usually about fear, greed, and disruption. It's the FUD of their lives. And it's really about addressing.
FUD.
No, it's that FUD, right? Sometimes people have fear of success. Sometimes people have fear of failure. Sometimes it's people who are blocked because they're like, the way I have them visualize it, they're in a door frame and they want to go through that door. Well, the door's open, but they're stuck actually not going forward. And it's themselves that are sticking them in. It's no one else. It's nothing in front of them but their own fear of going forward. And they have to let go and be open to embracing what is in front of them, because it will guide, because they have to find themselves on the inside, listen to their inner voice and use that as their guide to go forward. More times than not, it's the fear of success that blocks people than the fear of failure. And it's not, and the fear of, well, what if this works and what happens next? What do I do? It's like, wait a second, that's a good thing. It's okay. Breathe, focus, and allow yourself to be centered. And so I bring people into a place where they could find themselves and they could see themselves being successful. Because if they're fearful of this, I literally ask them to close their eyes and to visualize what they want. I kind of steal a little bit from Monty, but it's such a wonderful book, and it works so well that I help people manifest what their future as in real time. It's like manifest destiny. So when I'm working with folks, I'm trying to help them, not even trying, it's the doing part, but it's the act of believing in yourself and understanding where you're at. Sometimes it's where you're not, and allowing them to move forward into what they want their reality to be, and to take the actions necessary to make it so. And if they're stuck because they're in a bad situation, I tell them to get the F out. But I can't do that. But sometimes people know why they're stuck, right? But they want justification, but to be okay to be stuck. And I say, no, if you're coming for help, get the F out, because you're in an abusive situation. Get out. This person's tormenting you emotionally. You know that you have these spiritual gangsters coming after you. There are people that are sucking your energy dry. They're your vampires. Well, but I know, but I do it because no. If you acknowledge it, do it. Sorry.
I think we're our worst enemies usually.
Yeah.
The negative self-talk that
Right.
we're all guilty of.
And by the way, when you were talking earlier about being told earlier in your life you can't do something, and then discovering you can, that's so empowering. And at the same time, like, WTF, like, why didn't I not do this for so long? Because it's like, I'll tell you, when I was 17, when I was 16, I was very shy growing up, which is not that's a fairly shared fact by me. But I remember in 11th grade being shy but showing up at parties and being in awe of a certain bunch of people who were friends of mine who would play piano, and somehow they were very attractive to and they became the center of attention. So I thought, okay, what I need to do is learn how to play piano. So my mom was kind enough and got me piano lessons going into 12th grade. And I actually spent from September to June playing piano, learning the exercises, actually creating my own music. But right before graduation in high school, my piano teacher looked at me on the last lesson we had. He said, "Jeff, you could have been great, but you started too late."
Oh.
And that devastated me. And I actually have never played piano since, at least not seriously.
Mm.
Oh, we gotta
We know it's
Time to
never too
start.
late.
No, it's never too late.
Time to start.
Yeah, you can be a rock musician. You don't have to be great.
Well,
to do that.
Exactly.
I'm grateful for all the other music activities which I have engaged in my life. But coming in on keyboards on something, or years ago, I bought myself a '57 Fender bass because I figured if I wasn't going to play piano, I'll learn how to play bass.
What? What? You have that still?
Oh, Monty wants to play.
Do you have that still?
I that is a wish, which if it's still in someone's possession, maybe it can come forward to me. But it was a 57 Fender bass.
Oh fuck! Sorry.
Oh,
I wanted to learn. I figured I was having all these wonderful concerts at my conferences.
Oh
and
man.
I thought it'd be fun to jam with the musicians. So anyway, but the point is, right, we're never too late to take ownership of who we are and to take that next step forward. We do all
Take ownership of that bass, Jeff, and give it to me. That's what you got to do.
Jeff, Michelle's partner is a cult figure
Yes.
musician. I don't know if you ever heard of Fishbone. Angela Moore. Angela Moore is her life partner.
Husband.
Yeah.
Husband.
So I have been privy to being with a person who has no he is I don't
He
want to
dresses
say,
the way he wants to, for sure.
He has no boundaries when it comes to playing music, dressing, whatever wearing whatever he wants, saying whatever he wants. So
Yeah.
it's so interesting that that we came together and but I will say sometimes it's extreme.
Even you would say that?
Yes, if he's on here, he might not have been, but anyway, but sometimes it's extreme because he has been a rock star since he was 17. That's the only job he's ever had. He's never had to work anywhere else and be a musician. He's just only been a musician his whole life. So he lives, I call him, he's like a bird in a cage. He lives a life only based on his experiences and his environment.
Mm.
So, so it's interesting how I have a firsthand understanding of conditioning because his conditioning is like, you can just do whatever you want to do, And so when you think about that, and then sometimes they're like, well, you can't. And this is a really, I'm going to tell you the story. So we're at someone's house for dinner. And he has craft services. When you're on the road, you can eat whatever you want. You can have as much food as you want. You can eat as much because they're just going to keep bringing. He was piling his plate up, and I had to kick him and say, "This is someone's house. This is not craft services."
Oh well.
There is no more food in the back.
Gotta love it.
So, but he, in his mind, he's like, oh yeah, you eat how much food you want when you go to a place because they have more food in the bag. It's endless, da 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 da. So that's a fine example of, have boundaries, blocks, etc. So there's extreme, and another thing I wanted to say about with the blocks is you were mentioning, Jeff, about the music, and so in hypnosis, what we do, we take you on journeys. So we can take you on journeys to help you play instruments better, help you learn how to play instruments. Because remember, a lot of great musicians, they didn't physically play their instruments. They actually would visualize the piano keys and visualize themselves playing sports and visualize to perfect their craft because their mind was the most important muscle that they needed to control in order to be the best at their craft. So what we do in hypnosis, we put you in a deep theta state, and then we help you to actually see yourself being that version of yourself that matches your goal. So if you want to, anything that you want to do, your mind is what William Blake says, the imagination is the key to everything that you want in life. And it all starts with a thought. So that's how one way to remove blocks is to use that visualization, that quantum affirmation, go into that theta state and to program yourself to actually practice in your mind over and over and over again, if you don't physically have the instrument or the time.
They've done scientific studies that prove that works. That visualizing something you are getting exercise. You are learning something just by seeing it.
Also, what Michelle was saying about smiling, they've done studies on that if you act as if you make yourself smile, that triggers a whole response in your body. And another thing that I do sometimes is transfer something that I'm really good at to the thing that I feel more insecure about.
You mean entwining your gift with your goal?
That's right. And I thought that was my tip. You're right. Your tip.
Entwining your gift with your goal. I love that. I love that.
Because it's funny. Like, I mean, I'm very secure making art and tapestries and trusting that and channeling that. And then there'll be something stupid in the outside world that I'll get scared of or feel like I can't do it. So I transfer my gift with my goal.
Okay, so for everybody, Quantum Affirmations, it's a book. It's also a free Facebook group. The way it works is there's 5 steps. I think we might even still have the DVD with Michelle on it somewhere around.
Yes, I have the DVD, and I look at it and I think about, what I said and everything.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, it's interesting. Like I said, once again, I have flashes of when I'm doing things, I'm thinking, wow, we talked about this,
Oh yeah, you're the red belt of quantum affirmations as far as I'm concerned.
And what I want to say too, as a practitioner of quantum affirmations, like my everything, like even, meeting you guys, being at Barbose Cycle, et cetera, is that sometimes people think that when you reach your goal, it's the end goal.
Yeah.
And you think that, oh, I'm going to be so happy when I get here and when I do that. But it's a journey, like you guys, like we mentioned when you said my bio, it's always a journey. And sometimes it's a trip. And I really, when you posted that today on Facebook, I was like, it's so true. Because when we think about it being a trip, we can laugh about it because sometimes what you want can be totally like, how the hell did I get here? You're like, I thought I wanted that, but okay, this is just a trip. So
well, that's the first. That's the first.
It opens up
it opens up.
Yeah.
And
well, the first step of quantum affirmations is what do you want? And that's usually the hardest part for everybody is what do you want? Because then when you drill down into what you want, you find out that sometimes what you say you want is not what you want. You want something else. So once you identify that, you go to step 2, which is identify your blocks, why your history with your goal is why didn't you get it? If you've wanted it for so long, why didn't you get it? And the third thing is identify your gift, bringing up what Amy said, something that you do effortlessly and endlessly, something that you're always doing, whether it's being a great parent, whether it's being a great chef, loving somebody, whatever. And then you blend your gift with your goal. So that every time you're a great parent, you visualize being a great parent and seeing what you want come out of that, the new job.
You can have fun with that visualization too.
And then the 5th thing is a contemplation, which is to do a visualization where you see yourself getting what you want, but seeing what comes up. Because like you say, it's a trip, it's a journey and a trip. And it doesn't end because when you get to your goal,
and it's not all good. It's always a combination of challenges and new problems.
Like I remember when you first moved out to Los Angeles, like your issue was like getting a location for what you wanted to do. So you did what you wanted, but you had probably visualized that, so you were ready for it.
Well, let me tell you guys a little story. So, okay, I think it was maybe 2 years ago. So I live near the beach. So fortunately, throughout COVID, I was able to go to the beach. Like I would go at night sometimes, just like quiet. So it's my birthday, and my birthday is June 21st, summer solstice. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the beach, and I'm just going to sit there. And I'm sitting at the beach, and I thought, wow, remember when I was in my New York apartment, sitting at my computer, saying I wanted to be an energy healer. And it was so far-fetched because I was doing styling work. I was doing everything. I'm like, I think I want to be an energy healer. I think I want to shift and do something different, not be so focused on fashion. And it seemed impossible because I had a big life in New York. I had all these clothes. I had, I'd lived in that apartment for 9 years. And I thought about it. I was just like, that sounds exhausting, moving and changing. And so as I was on the beach that night, I was like, wow. I remember when I was sitting at my desk thinking about moving and becoming, I didn't even know I was going to become a hypnotherapist, but it kind of made sense because I had been listening to hypnotherapy tapes most of my life when I was in my 20s, like Dick Sutphin and, you know, all these different people. And I was like, gosh, who knew that I would do this work and become who I am today? But then Spirit said to me, so what's next? You forgot the rest of the story. And I thought, you're right. I did forget the rest of the story because I had arrived at my destination, but I didn't remember what the rest of it was because I got so confused between the quantum shifting. It's almost like the cosmic fog. It's like you reach someplace and then you're like, and you're like, I'm exhausted. You're like, okay, once the fog settles, what's the next step? So then I thought, okay, what am I going to do next? And so here I am now, because I've thought in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm a hypnotherapist. And then recently I'm like, but I'm also a stylist, as Monty was saying. I'm like, I love clothes. I love seeing people shine. I call it bringing the diamond out of the rough. Mm-hmm. You know, I see the diamond, I see the rough aspect of the people that I look at. And even though I'm helping them mentally, I really want to help them physically as well. And that's where the styling comes in, because Maxwell Maltz, he's from the 1950s. And he said, the image that you see of yourself is like when you change your image, you change yourself, you change your thoughts. Yeah. So that's not the exact quote, but it's Maxwell Maltz anyway. So I thought about that, and he's the father of, he's actually the father of self-help, Maxwell Maltz.
Wow.
Now, who is it? What's the name?
His name is Maxwell Maltz, and he was a plastic surgeon, and he wrote a book. It's called, oh my God, I can't remember it right now. Anyway, I'll tell you the end. Anyway, he noticed that as he worked with people and he changed their image, they also had to change their thought process. So he started doing self-help. He wrote a book, Cybernetics. Yes, thank you, Van.
Oh, I remember that book.
Yeah. So Cybernetics is all about changing your look and changing your outlook. Like that's a perfect way to shift into a new reality by seeing yourself differently as well as imagining yourself differently.
Well, so, people get into ruts, right?
Yes. And in order to get out of a rut, for example, get a haircut.
Yeah.
You know, like I talk about homeless people. So many people are shifting the shifting homelessness by going into these camps and helping people with haircuts, giving them new clothes.
Oh, how beautiful.
Helping them, building their self-esteem, giving them a new version of themselves.
Yes.
Because when you see yourself looking the same way over and over again, that becomes ingrained in you. And you're like, oh, this is just who I am. But we all know, Amy and Marty, you guys are in the fashion. When someone has on a beautiful outfit, it immediately shifts them. Even a lipstick, changing your lipstick. Even a man, like changing your colors. If you wear a certain color all the time, maybe wear something different, because colors are also frequencies. Colors are reflections of light. It works with your subconscious mind. It makes you, when you're wearing color, you're vibrating, because everything is vibration, everything is frequency, everything is light waves. You're vibrating out to the universe a particular feeling. We all know that. Amy with her purple, we know she's a mystic.
And don't forget it. Right?
Exactly. Don't forget it.
When I used to work in the film business, I used to dress with Pershing belts. I was a locations person, but I tried to dress in such a way that connotated authority. And if you look at the motorcycle cops, the way they dress with the boots and the whole thing, that's all to make you shut up. And it's all the way so I used to dress like that. And that's what got me into becoming a bodyguard in the movie business because I dressed that way and I was able to keep situations quiet.
You had your crystals too.
I had my crystals too.
Oh yeah, let's talk about crystals. Oh my gosh, definitely.
Crystals are powerful. Jeffrey, you and I should switch hats for next week so we can experience a
Well,
different.
Jeffrey's a member of the Loud Shirt Society.
Yeah,
like-
usually.
Okay.
Calm shirt today, but I have a whole collection of Loud shirts, and I'm very proud of them. And it's it is, and purple is also one of my root colors. I have to say, it's just I believe in self-expression. I believe that we allow ourselves. One of the challenges, right, is that if you allow others to judge you, then it may shut you down. It's sort of what shuts you, but it's sort of like when you remove blocks and at the same time allow yourself to embrace the style that makes you, that you're comfortable with, nothing else really matters, right? Because you're the one who says, this is who I am, this is what I do, and accept me or not, but this is who I am, this is what I do. And so if I decide to go into a loud room, wear a bright Hawaiian shirt, that's me. If I'm going on stage with certain colors with my purple glasses, that's me too. If I do the show with a certain hat, that's who I am. And so, and I totally agree, by the way, for me, there are times when I go get a haircut to actually feel better. There are times when I'll go out and I'll do other things to go better, to feel better, because I believe it took forever to learn, but self-love helps a lot, particularly when you're feeling stuck, to allow yourself the time to breathe, the time to find center, the time to go inside, even if it's for 3 minutes, and to just find that higher vibration inside you that's there, and to just be present. Your days, I know people who are incredibly busy and they forgot about themselves, right? They're so busy taking care of so many other people, they forget to breathe for themselves and to be centered just for that moment for them, and to do the tiniest things. As the busier you are, it's the tiny things that matter sometimes the most, right? And so when we allow ourselves to unblock our styles, allow ourselves to wear the clothing and anything that we want to associate with us, as long as we're not judging ourselves and we're not blocking ourselves, let it be whatever it is you want to wear. And if people don't get you, it's on them, not on you, right? It is up to you to express yourself how you want to be expressed, whether you're understood or not, different conversation. But I totally believe in that we are here to serve, but ourselves too. And that we cannot help others if we're not taking care of who we are. And we don't respect ourselves as much as we respect others around us.
Well, I think, adornment and dressing ourselves, it feeds our soul just as much as, good food and water and all of that. It's
Sometimes more.
it's all part of that.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Good point.
But Michelle, I want to ask you about hypnotherapy. Can anyone be hypnotized?
Yes, you're already hypnotized, but I wanted to say one thing to piggyback on what Jeff was saying too. It's really important, and like they say, when you're depressed, to take a shower and put lotion on.
Force yourself.
Yes, because when you take that shower, or usually a shower because it's quicker, you're rinsing off some of the debris. So a lot of people that are depressed, they're depressed because they're empaths, and they've collected so much energy that they are completely bogged down. So being able to take that shower and feeling the cleansing, the rinsing of the energies of other things that you've collected throughout the day, and then physically hugging yourself, putting on lotion. A lot of people don't put lotion on. I'm surprised they don't put anything on. Letting the water and imagining yourself letting all those troubles go down the drain, and then massaging yourself, just putting some oil or lotion or whatever you like, that will bring you back to your source and feeling your own energy again. And that's a really great step to get back to yourself as well, and then you put on your clothes and all that stuff, because you got like rinsing that stuff off. So hypnotherapy. I just wanted to say that because I just was imagining that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, just like taking a shower and allowing yourself to rinse those things, the debris.
It also reminded me that during the pandemic, so many people sort of gave up getting dressed.
Yes.
With just sweatpants and
Exactly.
And that does the same thing, you know, if you
Yes.
adorn yourself and pick a color and put yourself together, that
Yes.
it helps
Yes.
you feel better.
It helps you feel better. And so, okay, so hypnosis. Okay, so what is the difference? So let's start with this. What is the difference between hypnosis and meditation? Because a lot of people don't understand the difference. They're like, oh, you know, meditation is emptying the mind. Hypnosis is programming the mind. So in hypnosis, what we do, we talk to you about whatever's going on, your words, not my words, and then we reframe things. We help you to reframe things. And in the reframing, we give you these words back to you using other words, because remember, words have power. Your word is wand, words are magic. So we reframe your thinking while you are in a deep state of relaxation, because that's how hypnosis occurs. However, you're in hypnosis, like right now, the people that are watching us right now are in hypnosis because they're deeply watching us on the screen, hearing what we say, and they're relaxed because they're sitting at home. Some people are relaxed. I hope you are. You're sitting at home and you're like, oh, when you're watching TV, when you're watching a movie, when you're driving, when you're at a concert, and you're like, you know, when people are saying, get up, when you're at church, sit down, get up. The church, I'll say, is the biggest form of hypnosis because they're telling you what to say, they're telling you what to do. You stand up, you sit down, you follow a set of rituals and rules, and then you leave and you go, oh, and then all that stuff sticks in your mind because it's a form of hypnosis. And usually with hypnosis, someone is either, like, for example, so I'm a hypnotherapist. So I am speaking to you, you're listening, or the preacher is the hypnotherapist because they're in a position of a podium that they're looking a little bit down on you, and you're like, and not down on you in a negative way, but you know, that position of politicians. So we are taking in the messages all the time. So I say, instead of hypnosis, let's get you out of hypnosis by having you hear your own thoughts and hear the words, using the skills to reframe, release habits. Some people, they think, oh, you know, I've been smoking cigarettes since I was 17. I don't think I could ever stop smoking cigarettes. Meanwhile, their health is failing. They hate smelling like cigarettes. So then we start talking about, okay, why are you smoking cigarettes? And they say, why, da, da, da. And then we reframe it, da, 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 da. And then we give them steps and deep state of theta, you know, behavior so that they can continually stop. So when they pick the cigarette up, sometimes they might pick the cigarette up and they might say, oh, wow, this tastes like an ashtray. It tastes bitter and it's like nasty. And or they may start, when they're around, they don't like it. It makes them feel sick because we reprogrammed them to actually feel what they really feel when it comes to cigarettes versus what their habits have taught them. Eating, you know, people that snack a lot, they don't want to snack. They go to the refrigerator, or instead of going to the refrigerator, maybe we could reprogram them to go for a walk. Oh, I really feel like going to the refrigerator. Instead of going to the refrigerator, you say, oh, when I'm really hungry, I'm going to drink a tall glass of water and go for a walk or go outside in the garden. So this is the way that hypnosis works: reprogramming, reframing, helping people to dehypnotize that belief system that they have carried on most of their life.
Habits.
I can't believe we have to deprogram now because it's
time. Oh my gosh, this hour went by so fast.
Because we were in a trance, and and notice, by the way, that when we actually connected and vibed together, all of our issues went away. Right, there were no more stalls. Everything came in sync.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. The solar flares.
Right, the solar flares are out there, but we were able to find that harmony between us, the energetic harmony.
That's what we want the whole world to do.
You know, in the set, I want to do this quick. In the Seth material, he talks about this disembodied spirit talks about how mass mental states creates the weather. So maybe we created a little bit of
good weather,
good solar weather.
Oh. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, so can I say something about this too? So this is I don't know. I feel like I need to say this. So, okay. So when we were wearing masks, and some people were still wearing them some places, I wanted to say that, and you guys might feel this way too, that we were actually increasing our telepathic communication. Like not being able to see our faces.
To talk with our eyes.
Yeah, talking with our eyes and our mind. So now we are even at a higher frequency to communicate with each other because we know how to do that now. We know how to be quiet. We know how to zoom into people. And just like sometimes when I go to order something and I order something that I'm like ambivalent, they always give me the thing I'm thinking about. And I'm like, oh, they read my mind. So when you're out and about, remember, people are very aware of your thoughts. So
that's great, Michele.
Think great thoughts, because we have been forced to communicate with this part of ourselves versus with this part of ourselves. So I wanted to say that too.
Wow.
That's a great observation. I think that's so important.
Yep, there you go.
This was so fun to be with you. I hope you'll come back to be with us.
Oh, I love this.
Thank you,
was
Jeff.
conversation.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, everybody who joined us.
Thank you, Amy and Monty. Thank you, all my friends that joined, Lisa, Naomi, and everybody else who's there. I appreciate you guys.
Grateful to all of you. Light and love to all. And if it's Mondays, it's time for
Ask the Oracle.
That's a wrap. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much. Thank you, Harry.
Recording stopped.
We did it.
We did it. All right, I need to jump. I'll catch up with you guys. Love you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Michele, that was
Bye,
fun, but it
that
just
was
makes me
awesome.
miss you.
We could talk all day, right?
All day.
Are you coming?